call this block twists. It's 12-inch finished because it looks like a little twist tie to me here. Here's the diagram. There's only 3 different patches in here: a rectangle, a square, and a half square triangle. And here's what it looks like with 4 blocks together. Here are the cutting instructions. And these are the instructions here for rotary cutting. And these are the number of patches you need. And the patches you need are for rotary cutting and for the AccuQuilt. So patch A is a 2-inch finished square. We'll cut 2.5-inch squares. And these are the patches. We need 8 patches of the background and 2 patches of the red and the blue fabric. And here are the AccuQuilt dies you can use to cut these patches. And there's a little bit of confusion. Sometimes people think that these are cut with the AccuQuilt. These are your choices. You can cut these by hand with a rotary cutter and you cut the 2.5-inch squares. Or you can use the AccuQuilt to cut the same 2.5-inch squares. Either way, you need this many patches. Patch B is a 2-inch finished half square triangle. For rotary cutting, if you want to cut the patches, the 2 triangle shapes, you'll cut a 2 7/8-inch square, cut it in half once on the diagonal. That will give you the 2 patches, and we'll show you the patches later. If you want to do half square triangle 2 at a time, you cut these squares, but you do not subcut them. You'll use the 2 squares together, and you'll make 2 half square triangles at a time. And that's if you're rotary cutting. For the AccuQuilt, here are the shapes you cut. When you cut AccuQuilt shapes, you're cutting triangles. So you'll need 16 patches for the background, or 8 squares if you're doing the 2 at a time. 8 patches of the blue, or 4 squares if you're doing 2 at a time, and the same thing for the red. And the last patch is a 2-inch by 4-inch finished rectangle. We will cut 4.5 inches by 2.5-inch rectangles. You'll need 2 patches of the red and 2 of the background. And here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut these patches. We're going to first sew the half square triangles together, then we'll put the block together. Now let's look at the fabric and the patches. Here is patch A. And again, I'm doing red, white, and blue fabric because I'm doing a Quilt of Valor, and this is the second block for my Quilt of Valor. These are the squares, and here are the 8 patches of the background, the 2 patches each of the blue and the red. Here is patch B, which is the half square triangle. And if you're cutting squares, you'll have squares that look like this. The AccuQuilt cuts out the points. So this will be a full square if you're cutting squares to do the half square triangles 2 at a time. If you're not familiar with that, it'll be later on in the video, and I'll show you how to do that. But for AccuQuilt, you'll cut patches. These number of patches. I use the AccuQuilt this time. And for rotary cutting, you can cut the patches or you can cut the squares to make your half square triangles. And then here are the rectangles, patch C. So we're going to start by first stitching the half square triangles, and we'll stitch these together and these together. And you'll make 8 of each of these. If you've cut squares and you want to make half square triangles 2 at a time, stay tuned for a little demo on that. Otherwise, I'm going to go and sew the patches together and have 8 blue and white and 8 red and white half square triangles. On the back side of the light fabric, we're going to draw a diagonal line, put the fabrics together, right sides together, and we're going to stitch on either side of the diagonal line. Here is the diagonal line drawn, and then the stitching on both sides. Now we cut this in half along the diagonal line. Then we have our 2 half square triangles. Press the seams open and cut off the nubs. The half square triangles are done. Now we're going to put together the 2 different corner units. They're shown here at the bottom of the instructions. We'll put the red one together. kind of looks like a bear claw. We're going to make 2 of these. And now for the blue one. And make 2 of these. Sew the corner units together. Thank you for watching.